In this video today we're going to take a look at playing 9 holes at Dunfermline Golf Club's Halkett course. This is a 9-hole par 3 course and I'm out here on my lunch break trying to break 30. First up, first hole, 65 yards, straight as can be, a little bit of danger behind the green. I've gone with my 56-degree wedge here and managed to pop this one nicely on the green. As you can see, the greens aren't in particularly great condition on this little practice course. Here we have around about 4 foot, but it's a great opportunity to start the year with a birdie and a positive stroke, and we are 1 under par. The second hole here is 112 yards to the pin. It's a double green shared with the 9th hole. We're going for the flag on the right hand side, that's the yellow one. The line here for me is actually aiming on the red flag on the left and working a fade off of that, hopefully releasing the ball down towards the yellow flag. Anyway, that's a pitching wedge sent in nice and high, landed this one on the green, and I thought it was going to release down to the pin, but unfortunately that wasn't quite the case, and you'll see my ball has stopped just on the top of this little shelf. Really nice backdrop on this hole. Shame the green isn't in the best condition, but these don't get maintained in the same way as the greens on the main course. Sent this putt in a little bit tentatively downhill, came up short on the left, and this is a little bit of a tough putt here to try and make par. But anyway, we've popped that one in and we are still 1 under par. On to the next hole. The third hole is quite a difficult, longish hole on this course, 159 yards in this particular hole. I've gone with my 7-iron here, out of bounds all the way down the right hand side, those thick trees, so anything left here isn't actually too bad, but it can be a difficult hole in this wind, and I've only got a half set during my round today. I've put my 7-iron way left here. I was trying my best to turn my body and get a bit more of a draw, but not that much. Anyway, as you can see here, we found a pretty good lie. We're around about maybe 20 yards from the left hand side of the green. Got a little bump to go over here and a small tree. 56-degree wedge in hand. It's quite a mossy lie here, so I didn't want to come up a little bit chunky with this one, so a little bit more weight on the front foot here. Managed to get it onto the green, but because it's that little bit frosty, the ball has bounced and has propelled to the back of the green. This is going to be a pretty difficult hole to try and make a par on. As you can see, again, the greens aren't particularly great, but it is very much just a practice course. So for me, when I'm out playing this, putting isn't really that much like putting on the main course. So I'm just trying to get this one pretty close. It's a really good effort actually, just gone past the left hand side of the hole. And that's a tap in for my first bogey, and that brings us back to level par. The fourth hole you'll see here is 121 yards. I've gone with my 9-iron here. It's pretty much straight. Anything to the right though is going to get lost in those trees. Again, this was a fairly good hit. It looked like it was right at the green. It just moved a little bit off to the right, but I thought distance wise it was going to be pretty good. But unfortunately it has come up just that little bit short. Now from this position here, I actually wanted to use my 60-degree wedge, but I've only brought a half set out today. So because the green is quite frosty and a little bit frozen here, I was looking to basically just jump this onto the front of the green and release it out, but you'll see the first bounce there has just carried it on way past the pin, and this green in particular is always in pretty poor condition, as you can see. So putting on this, in my opinion, is just pot luck. It's probably around about 4 or 5 foot past the pin here, so I'm looking with this one to hopefully ram it in and make a par. As you can see, I'm just clearing lots of debris from the green, but to be honest, there's not much point because it's not a great green to be putting on. And as you'll see from this stroke, I've just put that one by the left hand side of the hole. So even this return putt isn't particularly easy in these conditions, but we've managed to pop it in, and that's a bogey, and we are now 1 over par. On to the next hole here. This is the 5th hole, 85 yards. I usually play my 60-degree wedge on this one. I don't have that in the bag, so we've gone with the 56-degree here. It's a really nice easy hole right in between those two big trees. A really good strike on this one, looked all over the pin, but unfortunately it's just a little bit long and it's gone through the back of the green. For this one here, you might be wondering why I'm chipping. Generally, when I'm off of the green, I don't putt unless I'm right on the fringe or it's really short grass. In this one it's a little bit fluffier here, and actually I just prefer on this course to work on my short game, so I've gone with the 56 here. Fairly decent chip initially I thought, but you'll see I've left this one probably about 3 foot short of the hole, so a little bit of work to be done here to try and escape with a par. Anyway, as you can see, not much going on in the way of reading the greens here. It's just more of a case of trying to tap this one in, and it's a fairly decent putt. So we're in for par and we stay at 1 over. On to the 6th hole here. This is a fairly long-ish par 3. We're looking at about 127 yards here in between those 2 big trees. I always feel this one plays a little bit longer. It's usually into the wind and uphill slightly. I've gone with my 8 iron here, and I absolutely nailed this one in terms of my usual position. So this one here, I could see that it has gone through the back of the green, but not too far through. So we've got a good opportunity here to even try and chip this one in. Again, leaving the putter in the bag for this one, going with my 56-degree wedge, a little bit weight further forward in my stance, letting it come off the back of the back foot, and just missed out on chipping that one in. Good thing about this one is no need to grab the putter, really close, tap that in with a wedge and walk off with another par to stay at 1 over par from a round. On to hole number 7. This is my favourite hole on this short par 3 course. 154 yards back to a double green here, 7 iron in hand. We're going between those 2 large trees, but we're going to fade one off of that left hand side tree and hopefully work our way down to the red flag there. Managed to hit the fade. This one looked like it was going to be all over it. Just a little bit short of the green, unfortunately, but that sometimes can happen when you're playing off of these thick mats. Again though, good opportunity here to get some practice with the wedge. With this one here, I was looking to land it a little bit early on and release it out. So again, just going with the back foot position here and letting it land and release. Got this one pretty close, and that should be a relatively straightforward tap in for par. You'll see here I'm lining this one up though because putting on these greens have just been a little bit unsure during the round, but this is one that shouldn't really cause any problems. However, I shouldn't probably have lined it up because I've missed that one, and that's an unexpected bogey in the 7th hole to take us to 2 over par for our round. 8th hole here, this is 161 yards. Gone with my 7 iron here. We're just wanting to work it to the left of that large tree on the right hand side. Hit this one really well. My first thought was there's danger behind the green, this one could find that. But the good news is, although it has gone slightly long of the green, I've managed to land in a fairly nice fluffy lie. This is one where I would always be hitting my 60, don't have the 60 in the bag, so I've positioned this just a little bit further forward of my stance so I can get underneath it, send it in that little bit higher, and hopefully let it just release out to the pin. So good opportunity here to tap that one in and walk off with a par, and we're still on target to beat 3 over par, which would be 30 strokes. I did walk back from this one though because what's happened on a few of the earlier holes, I wanted to make sure I lined it up and at least give myself a chance and make sure I have properly read the putt. But you'll see here a little bit of a confident stroke there, and we are in for a par, remaining at 2 over par. Final hole here, par 3 of course, but this one is 118 yards back to the green shared with the 2nd hole, but we're going to the red flag on the left. Pitching wedge in hand, looking to manage to par this hole to break 30. Hit a really good shot here, landed actually pretty close to the pin, but unfortunately it's released down, and because there's a severe slope on this green, I've got a good bit of work to do here. Now this green is still quite frosty, you can see me tapping the club there just to see how hard it is. With the 56 here, again just bumping it into that little bit of a bank on the green, let it release out, but that's left me with a fairly tricky downhill putt to that pin to try and break 30. We're looking at about 3 or 4 foot here, and there's quite a lot of break from left to right, as I said, downhill, and the greens are really difficult to putt on, so I've got my work cut out to try and break 30 with this putt. A little bit of a tentative one downhill, and unfortunately that stopped right on the edge. Cannot believe it. So we tap that one in for a bogey. That's a 3 over par round of 30 strokes, which is not bad for my first round of 2014. It's great to get out at lunchtime and play a little bit of golf. This course is really good for working the short game, but as you can see, there is work to be done. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. Drop your comments in the comments area below about this particular round or any of the shots I've played, and I'll see you in the next video.